So if you're all ready, I'm ready. Board members, are you ready? Get started a couple minutes early. Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
I am Linda Lloyd, and I'm the presiding officer assigned by the board today to conduct this portion of the Category 1 license renewal hearing for Downs Racing LP, doing business as Mohegan, Pennsylvania. Before we begin, if we could all make sure our cell phones are off or on vibrate or something so we don't interrupt our speakers. As a presiding officer, I call this hearing to order. The date is Thursday, September 21st, and the time is now 10:28 a.m., and the location is the Plains Township Fox Hill Firehouse number 2 at 52nd Plains Street, or 2nd Street in Plains, PA. The Pennsylvania Racehorse Development and Gaming Act requires at Section 1326 that an operator's license shall be subject to renewal by the board every 5 years. This license renewal hearing is convened by the board pursuant to the mandate found in Section 1205B1I of the Gaming Act that requires that the board conduct a public input hearing for any license renewal application. This public input hearing was advertised on the board's website, announced by the board and at board meetings, and advertised in local newspapers. Board members present today for the hearing are to my immediate left, Chair Smiler, and next to her, Commissioner Manzano-Diaz. To my immediate right, Commissioner Regan, and to her right, Commissioner Hinkernell. The hearing will begin with a presentation by Mohegan, Pennsylvania, with any cross-examination of witnesses by the Office of Enforcement Counsel and questions from board members. After that, the Office of Enforcement Counsel will have the opportunity to make a presentation, and again with cross-examination of witnesses if they desire, and any questions by board members. After the close of the testimony and evidence from the parties, those individuals who have registered to speak today at today's hearing during the public comment period will be heard as their name is called, and each speaker has about 5 minutes to provide their thoughts on the renewal application. Following the close of the public comment, the parties will have the opportunity to provide a short closing statement. All witnesses are reminded to speak loudly and clearly and into your microphone so that our court reporter who's sitting over here can hear you and record what is happening. And I would also ask you, she has spellings, I think, of most people's names, but if you can, when you state and you spell your name the first time you speak for the court reporter. So let's have all witnesses for Mohegan, Pennsylvania, and our Office of Enforcement Counsel. If you can please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn by the court reporter.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And counsel for Mohegan, Mr. Hayes, if you'd like to begin.
Thank you. Director Lloyd, Chair Smiler, Commissioner Manzano-Diaz, Commissioner Regan, Commissioner Hinkernell. Good morning and welcome to Luzerne County. My name is Kevin Hayes of the Sabre Law Firm's Scranton branch office, and I represent Category 1 slot machine licensee Downs Racing, doing business as Mohegan, Pennsylvania. As Director Lloyd indicated, Mohegan, Pennsylvania will offer a presentation this morning as part of this public input proceeding. Here are the topics that we will discuss during our case in chief. First, we are going to provide you with an overview of Mohegan's gaming and entertainment properties and operations throughout the United States and the world, and their long-standing commitment to diversity in their operations. Next, we are going to provide you with a brief history of this property's development from when the Pocono Downs racetrack was acquired by Mohegan in 2005 to the creation of northeastern Pennsylvania's premier entertainment and tourism destination that you now see. I know that some of the members of the staff who are here today were there on November 14, 2006 for that momentous occasion when Pennsylvania opened its first casino, the Mohegan Sun at Pocono Downs. Today we will also describe Mohegan's efforts to address responsible gambling and alcohol management at the property, as well as the aggressive and innovative measures that have been taken to prevent minors from accessing the licensed facility and to prevent unattended minors. We will also provide you with a description of how Mohegan, Pennsylvania has honored its commitment to Pennsylvania's horse racing industry. In addition, we'll discuss the significant economic impact of this property's operation on the horse racing industry, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the local community. We will describe Mohegan's initiatives to promote diversity in its employment and in its contracting. Lastly, we will describe Mohegan's commitment to its team members, those 891 dedicated gaming and non-gaming employees who operate Mohegan, Pennsylvania. We have a number of representatives from Mohegan, Pennsylvania here today to offer testimony and answer your questions. At this time, I'm going to introduce someone who is a familiar face to you all, Mohegan, Pennsylvania's President and General Manager, Tony Carlucci, who will introduce the members of his team and begin today's presentation. Tony?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, it's great to see you again. I have with me today, first I'll thank you for taking the, sorry about that. Thanks for taking the time to come up here. I know it's a couple-hour drive, but thanks for coming. So I have with me today Brad Cobb, our Chief Financial Officer, Katie Borkowski, our Vice President of Human Resources, David Parfrey, my Vice President of Marketing, and Ron Krishan, my Director of Compliance.
Yep, there we go. You got it.
Not really.
Lawyers have
Oh,
limited
here we go.
skills. Obviously, this is one of them.
We're going to have to get new counsel. Go, just go?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. So the next slide, which I think you all have a copy of the present, oh, there it goes. Okay, you're making me look bad. The next slide shows you the properties that we have. We have our flagship property, in the original property in the Mohegan portfolio, which was Mohegan Sun, Connecticut. We also have our Mohegan, PA property, which was second. We have a few, and we have our two newest properties, Falls View, 2 in Niagara. We have Alani, which is out in Washington, which is a managed property. We have our property in Las Vegas, which we opened, was about 3 years ago. And we're excited. We manage resorts in Atlantic City, and we are excited to announce that soon we'll be opening up our property in South Korea. As you're aware, Mohegan is a minority-owned business. We're owned and managed by the Mohegan tribe. So we definitely, the management board, we're 100% committed to diversity. So our management board is 100% Native American. Okay, I'll hand it over to Dave.
Good morning. Good morning, Madam Chair.
Okay, let's take this one.
We're not doing so good here
All right,
today.
for everyone speaking, it's the red button pushed in, and that will make your mic hot. And so if you don't want it to be hot,
Excellent, thank
press
you.
the button again.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners, other distinguished guests. As a Day One Mohegan team member, Scranton native, I want to briefly walk you through our timeline since 2006. A lot has clearly happened. In 2006, the Mohegan Tribe of Indians purchased a very dated Pocono Downs racetrack, which was built in the 1960s. A large initial investment occurred to build out our expedited facility in the old grandstand area, which would become Pennsylvania's first casino. Since the moment those doors opened to that temporary facility, development has been consistent with over $280 million in major renovations and construction. Just a few of the many notable development projects that were the permanent facility that opened in 2008. Mohegan invested $7 million into a state-of-the-art paddock building in 2009, which not only kept our promise to the racing industry, but actually over-delivered. In 2014, we invested over $45 million into a hotel and convention center project, thus completing our transformation into a fully integrated casino and resort. And just in the past year, Mohegan renovated every hotel room that was originally built in 2014, ensuring we are offering the best product in the market, and that was an over $8 million remodel. As we move forward, our current gaming space of 67,000 square feet offers 1,670 slot machines currently, nearly 60 table games, in addition to hybrid table games, a newly remodeled poker room, our Unibet sportsbook, as well as our harness racing and simulcast operations. So, as previously mentioned, in 2014, Mohegan completed construction on a 238-room hotel and convention center. Our hotel space features a spa called Spa Sapphire, which is run by a local operator, as well as Wisecrackers Comedy Club, also operated by a local provider, and a hotel bar. Now, the 20,000 square feet of convention space truly was a game changer for our market, allowing Mohegan to draw in larger conventions and business groups, not only from the local market, but also from further distances out. Our Keystone Grand Ballroom is the preferred venue in the region for black tie events, community fundraisers, trade shows, and we've also become a premier regional wedding venue. This past March, something we're very proud of, Mohegan was able to host the 2023 Maxwell Football Club Awards. This event took place in the Atlantic City market for the past 20 years, and we were able to draw them out of that long-standing location to Wilkes-Barre, PA. This event featured sports personalities like Jalen Hurts and Coach Sirianni from the Eagles, Heisman Trophy winner and USC quarterback Caleb Williams, and brought mass exposure not only to our property, but also this region and this local community. Our dining at Mohegan, Pennsylvania has always been anchored by Ruth Chris Steakhouse and that truly unique bistro rustic kitchen, which has an actual indoor cooking studio, TV studio inside. But we offer 11 restaurants, and most recently we opened the Hive Tap House and our outdoor patio and restaurant, Embers Terrace, which has become a big hit with the local community.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. I would like to discuss some initiatives we've taken with responsible gaming and responsible alcohol management. So, focusing first on responsible...
Do you just want to...
Oh, yes, sorry about that. My name is Ron Kershaw. I'm the Director of Compliance. My last name is spelled C-H-R-Z-A-N. First I'd like to take you through the responsible gaming piece. So, we do train 100% of our employees annually in responsible gaming, new hires, and we also refresh every employee who continues to work for us. We partner with the Council on Compulsive Gambling of Pennsylvania for the video presentation that we make. The video is hosted by Josh Urcole, who's the executive director of the council, and we have a new video each year to ensure we're showing the most up-to-date content to our team members. We have detailed responsible gaming policies and procedures, and again, we work very closely with the Office of Compulsive and Problem Gambling on that. Our plan touches all facets, such as training, roles, and ways to detect underage gaming, as well as problem gambling, outreach programs, things like that. And we also have made the decision internally to prohibit any iGaming self-exclusions from gambling at our property. Moving over to the responsible alcohol management side, better known as RAMP. Our entire property was most recently RAMP certified on June 8th of 2023. We do require that 100% of our alcohol service staff be RAMP certified. The requirement is that we only need to do 50%, but we wanted to be better than best as we possibly could, so we train 100% of our staff. And finally, all of the training costs are paid by Mohegan. The employees don't pay for any of the RAMP certifications. Moving along to minor prevention and unattended minors. So first I'd like to focus on minor prevention. So we've taken a few initiatives here to ensure that our gaming floor is protected and people of age are only going on it. Some of the things we've done, we utilize new ID scanners with a photo comparison tool. And that photo comparison tool has really helped us to identify fraudulent IDs as well as legitimate IDs trying to be used by people who they don't belong to. We staff additional security officers at our posts during high volume days and special events, so the weekends. And when I say special events, things like concerts that we may run, large convention center events. We've decreased the width of our security gates. So in some instances, we took a gate that was potentially 20 feet wide, and we condensed it down to about a 4 to 6 foot section, so it forces patrons to be directly in front of our security staff as they're entering our gaming floor. And we've also created incentive programs, 2 of them specifically, one in which employees are rewarded with a monetary bonus if they detect a fake ID, and another one where every security member gets a bonus if they go 100 days as a department with no minors on the floor. Switching to unattended minors, this is another area where we've taken a lot of steps recently to make sure we are up to date with and be as good as we could be with this. We have added signage at each entrance of the facility. So we have 3 entrances. There's 2 signs at each entrance facing opposite directions. So anybody who comes into the property is forced to walk past those signs. We train our team, and they do sign an acknowledgement form that they know what to do if they spot an unattended minor and who to call. We have scrolling messages on all of our interior televisions stating that children should never be left unattended at our property for any reason. We have upgraded our exterior cameras to low-light infrared cameras, and this has actually been a great initiative. In the middle of the night, we could see clearly into vehicles from our surveillance and security department, so we're able to detect minors that way. And finally, we have set up fixed camera stations in security and surveillance, and they focus on high areas where we believe minors would be most likely to be, such as lobbies, entrances to the casino, the valet ports, things like that. And finally, our racehorse commitment, our commitment to the racehorse industry. So we currently have 35 racing employees. We race for 136 live days per year. Our racing season goes from February through November. We have a 5/8 mile track. We have, annually, we host the Sun Stake Series, which drives over $2 million in purses. 3 different occasions we've hosted the annual Breeders' Crown Series, and we average about a $209,000 daily purse. And the last thing I would just like to point out is that we do have a fantastic relationship with the Pennsylvania Harness Horsemen's Association as well. And with that, I would like to turn it over to Brad Cobb, our CFO.
Brad, for the benefit of the stenographer, could you please state and spell your name?
Sure.
Thanks.
Brad Cobb, B-R-A-D, C-O-B-B. Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. The economic impact in regards to racing is approximately $431 million. With the majority of that contributions to the PA Horse Racing Development Funds of $359 million, and another $42.5 million for contributions to the PA Harness Horsemen Association fees. Looking at the gaming, gaming has generated just under $2.2 billion in taxes and fees, with a little over $2 billion being generated from slot operations, another $100 million from table games operations, and about $66 million from our offerings of sportsbook and iGaming. In regards to the other non-gaming taxes and fees that's been generated by Mohegan, Pennsylvania, is roughly $67.7 million, with property taxes making up the majority of this number at $51.2 million, while sales and use tax is $14.6 million, and the other hotel occupancy tax, mercantile tax, and amusement taxes making up the rest. Not only do we understand our role as a tax revenue generating entity, but we also remain committed to the local community through our charitable contributions. Mohegan has donated $4.9 million since we started operations. The listing of organizations here represents a few of the organizations we've contributed throughout the years, but is not at all encompassing of everyone we donated to in the past.
To take us through the next portion of the presentation, we're going to call back Dave Parfrey, who is our Vice President of Marketing. Dave?
Let me spell my name this time.
Yes, for the benefit of the stenographer, please state
David
and spell your
Parfrey,
name.
P-A-R-F-R-E-Y. Keeping consistent with what Brad Cobb was just mentioning, before a single slot machine was powered on back in 2006 on that first night, our first test night over there, Mohegan in the community was paramount to our success. That was a mandate driven by the management board in Connecticut and embraced by the team down here. And that mission has not wavered in those almost 18 years since. Just highlighting a few of the monetary and non-monetary impact we try and get out and do in the local community. We've had long-standing partners since day one. Most notably, United Way, and Allied Services, and I know Jim Brogna will be speaking later from Allied. These are not just monetary contributions, but also a show of force from the team members all the way up to the management team. Allied Services, which does incredible life-changing, has incredible life-changing impact in the local area, has a fundraiser every year where individuals run the New York City Marathon. Each year that Mohegan has been a presenting sponsor with that monetary contribution, we have also had individuals raise money on their own, team members raise money on their own, aside from their normal responsibilities at work, and run that 25 miles. I haven't done it yet, but maybe we'll get there. Some of the other things, FM Kirby Center, obviously Mohegan recognizes how historic that theater is, and we have a sponsorship agreement with them. Everything from the Wilkes-Barre St. Patrick's Day Parade, where our team members are out there carrying large floats, Valley Santa, where we have team members go down and wrap presents for underprivileged children around the Christmas season. All of these things truly tie in directly to our success. We cannot be a strong community partner unless we're out there, not just writing checks, but with bodies and hands. And this, oh, sorry, Kevin, if we could just go back. Very important to note, 33.1% of our spend is with local businesses, 5.1 with minority and women-owned businesses, and just about every year, with the exception of that dark COVID time, we actually have been doing a diversity fair, which we work directly with Moselle to ensure that we're bringing in minority businesses to spotlight them in our convention center, and that has been a big success at our property. And then in closing, just want to talk about some of the fun things we've been doing over at Mohegan. Our annual party on the patio. I'm not sure if you've heard about this down in Harrisburg, but we have the largest free concert series every summer out on our racetrack apron. This year we extended by 2 weeks, so we had, I think, 17 weeks. We basically bring some of the best tribute bands in from the east, up and down the East Coast, as far out as California, actually, and give people a free concert, an enjoyable night. We work closely with Plains Fire and Plains PD to ensure it's a safe environment for all attendees. It is not a shock to see 5,000 or 6,000 people out there just enjoying a great night. No requirement to walk into this casino and gamble. This is for the community, a free event, and we love it. It's really embraced. Ticketed events we've had out there at the racetrack. Pat Benatar most recently in July. Brett Michaels in the previous year, as well as Kool and the Gang. We run some fun murder mystery shows. Friends and the Golden Girls coming up in October. And then what we just lived through last weekend, we brought back Oktoberfest, a massive event, full track takeover outdoor venue. This has been dark for 7 or 8 years. We brought it back. The local community appeared to really love it. We got a lot of great PR pickup and just some positive sentiment. So with that, I will close.
To take us through the next portion of the presentation, I'm going to introduce Katie Barkowski, who is the Vice President of Human Resources for Mohegan, Pennsylvania. Katie, could you please state and spell your name for the benefit of the stenographer?
Sure. My name is Katie Borkowski, Borkowski. Good morning, Madam Chair and Commissioners. We're excited to talk to you today about some of the diversity commitment that we take very much pride in at our property. And we're confident that those positive effects are will be seen in our work environment in terms of our diversity plan and our diversity and employment program. Yes. So on a quarterly basis, we have a well-established diversity meeting or committee that we do meet. We have a commitment to the state to provide diversity submissions to the state on a quarterly basis as well. And then in addition, I know that the speakers prior to me had stated that we do strive to implement diversity in our vendor spend. Mohegan, Pennsylvania has a history of providing an opportunity and creating a diverse and fun work environment. 18.6% of our total employee workforce fall into the minority category. That's up 4.5 points or percent from 2017, and that's 8.6 of that group are management and professionals. 47.1% of our total workforce comprise of females, and of that, there's 39.1% in leadership and management roles. Our commitment to our team members speak in our numbers. We have 891 total team members. 598 of those individuals are full-time team members. 374 team members have been with us for over 10 years. And then something that I'm really proud to say is that we still have 84 day one team members, which means that they've been employed since 2006, and a couple of them are here with us today. 99.9% of all of our employees do live in the state of Pennsylvania, and 96.7% do live right here in NEPA. When it comes to our salary and our wages, we do have a competitive package, and those numbers will speak to that. And those are the total salaries and wages that we have paid since opening in 2006. Some other great benefits that we do offer our team members are medical, dental, vision, 401k for full-time, part-time, and seasonal team members. Tuition reimbursement is a very comprehensive package. Free meals to every team member who works. An employee assistance program, which is a confidential hotline where team members who may be struggling can access this number and get the help that they need quickly. We also have introduced a mental health app called Twill. That is just providing resources in the palm of the hands for our team members. We also have a ton of different offerings like perfect attendance bonuses, sign-on bonuses, referral programs. And something that we're most proud of is that Mohegan, I'm not sure why all of those exclamation points are in there. I know that the presentation that we provided does not have those, but we are proud to say that our leadership team has served over 10 local community boards. Additionally, we work very closely with the local colleges and universities that we do have here in our local area by providing paid internships, attending career fairs on a regular basis, getting our name out there as a place to want to start your career. We do provide on-the-job training. We go to the colleges and do interviewing practice and provide that feedback, so when they're ready to get out into the workforce, they have some guidance. And then we do conduct some on-campus interviews. So with that, I'm going to turn it right back over to Kevin.
Sure. Director Lloyd, Madam Chair, members of the board, as you can see, Mohegan, Pennsylvania really is a true success story in terms of Pennsylvania gaming. As somebody who grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, it's been remarkable to watch a dated racetrack be transformed into a world-class entertainment facility with a hotel and a convention center, and restaurants that people who may not necessarily game frequent regularly. So, and it's also been remarkable to watch the gaming facility be transformed from a slots-only casino and a retrofitted grandstand to a beautiful casino floor. This concludes Mohegan's, Pennsylvania's presentation. We understand that the Office of Enforcement Counsel will have some questions for our side. However, at this time, Director Lloyd, if it's appropriate, I would request the admission of 2 exhibits into the record of this proceeding. First, I'd move for the admission of Senator Marty Flynn's September 12, 2023 correspondence to the Gaming Control Board, which has been identified as Mohegan Exhibit 1.
Okay.
And I don't believe there's any objection because that was contained within the stipulation that was submitted to,
Okay.
the Office of Hearings and Appeals. Next, I would move for the admission of the PowerPoint presentation, which was referenced during the course of today's hearing, which would be identified as Mohegan Exhibit 2.
No objection.
Okay.
That was Wesley Hurst, our enforcement counsel.
Okay.
No objection. Okay, so moved. So if we can play a little bit of musical chairs and have our Office of Enforcement Counsel come up. If there's any questions. If one of you has the answer to one of his questions, if you just want to step over to the podium, that microphone is hot too. It might be a little bit easier for you to move instead of switching back and forth up here. So Mr. Hurst.
Thank you, Director Lloyd. Thank you, Director Lloyd.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Wesley Hurst, Assistant Enforcement Counsel with the Office of Enforcement Counsel, HURST. So turning to slide 5.
All right, there's got to be a faster way to do this. What's the title of it?
I'm sorry, property timeline of development.
Okay, got it. Go.
Thank you. Are there any plans in the works, either renovations or new projects, other than the hotel renovation?
Direct this question to our CEO, Tony Carlucci.
We have some small projects inside the building with our cage. We're rebuilding our cage and relocating it. But with regards to future development, we sit on a lot of property, and we're consistently looking for partners that would come in here. We're actually focused on properties that would be more non-gaming, you know, to draw people to the property. At this point, we're in talks with a couple people, but nothing I can disclose at this time. But we're consistently looking to develop the property. We have over 500 acres. So.
Thank you. Now, turning to slide 6. Next slide. Have there been any changes to the square footage of the facility's smoking or non-smoking sections since Mohegan's license was last renewed?
Okay. I think to field this question, we're going to turn it over to Ron Kashan.
Thank you, Kevin. So there have been changes to the square footage of those sections. So the smoking section has decreased by about 2,800 square feet, and the non-smoking section has decreased by just over 10,000 square feet. Now, a large portion of that, almost all of it, was the closing of our temporary opening facility. When we built our new casino, Phase 2, Phase 1 became a little antiquated and just really didn't attract any patrons down there, so closing it was almost 10,000 square feet right there. So not counting that, it was about the same.
Thank you. And what impact, if any, have you seen from this change to the square footage?
So I think getting people out of our Phase 1 facility was what we were looking to do and get everybody into the new casino. The square footage percentages as far as smoking and non-smoking have not changed much. They fluctuated about 2% in each direction, but we're still in line with where we need to be. But as mentioned, yeah, so the percentages, the square footage has reduced in both smoking and non-smoking.
Thank you. And the slide states that the number of slot machines available for play is 1,670. Is that number still accurate?
Tony, do you want to?
As of, yeah, I'm sorry. As of today, it is, but if you remember yesterday, we submitted to go down to 1,550. So as of today, yes.
Thank you. Now, if I can turn your attention to slide 9 regarding responsible gaming. How are new employees trained in responsible gaming?
Again, I'm going to direct that question to Ron Kashan.
Thanks again, Kevin.
I'm just going to call you Ron.
New employees are trained right during new hire orientation, their first day on the job. We put them through the full training.
Aside from alcohol service staff, what other staff members require ramp certification?
Aside from the alcohol service staff, we train our surveillance department, our security department, our table game supervisors, as well as our executive leadership team.
Thank you. Now if I can turn your attention to slide 10. Based on the policies listed on this slide, when were these implemented and how far along are you in this process?
So all of the items mentioned up there have been implemented in 2021, so everything is fully in effect since 2021.
Thank you. And what casino departments receive unattended minor training?
Every one of our departments received the training across the entire facility.
Thank you. And you mentioned scrolling messages on the interior TVs. What do these scrolling messages state?
Sure. The message on the scrolling TVs, it reads, "Under no circumstances should a minor be left unattended anywhere on Mohegan property. Violators will be subject to criminal prosecution by law enforcement."
Is there posted information about unattended minors around the restaurant areas?
Yes, there are. There are 3 signs on the way to the restaurant area with similar messages about unattended minors.
Thank you. And what measures are taken to ensure that those under the age of 21 who are betting on horse racing are prevented from accessing the gaming floor?
So the only way to get to our gaming floor from the racing area is up across our Sky Bridge, and at the end of the Sky Bridge, we have security posts. So there's no way to get there without passing through a security post.
And is there signage about unattended minors in the parking lot before you get to an entrance?
So we currently have signage at each of the entrances, but we do not have parking lot signage at this moment. Now, we have had conversations recently, and we are considering adding signage to the entrances pulling into the facilities, so as people are driving by, it's just another opportunity for them to see what the expectation is. So we are considering that right now.
Thank you. And how frequent are the security patrols around the parking lot?
So security patrols our parking lot from approximately 7:30 a.m. through midnight each day, so over 16 hours of patrol every day. We do also have shuttle service available between midnight and 7:30, and with those, I'd just like to point out also with the cameras that we talked about, the low-light infrared cameras, we do have constant monitoring of the parking lots during the nights as well.
Thank you. And if I can turn your attention to slide 13 by the numbers.
And to field these questions, we're going to direct them to Brad Cobb.
You note that $2.028 billion in gaming and racing taxes and fees have been paid. What is the time frame in which these taxes have been paid?
So that's going from inception in 2006 to July of 2023.
Thank you. Now, if I could turn your attention to slide 15 relating to charitable contributions. What is the source of Mohegan's charitable contributions, such as from employees, patrons, and otherwise?
There is a small portion that's coming from our employees and patrons. We do have donation boxes on the floor that we match any donation there. As well as employee, we do some fundraising throughout our part of the patios, but the overwhelming majority is coming from our operating funds through Mohegan themselves.
And how is the charitable organization determined, such as those on the right part of the slide?
Mohegan, Pennsylvania has a donations committee made up of not only executive team members, but also directors and managers. Every donation request coming into the property is reviewed based on a set of guidelines, and then we also ensure that the NPOs are registered with the state prior to a decision being made.
Thank you. Now, if I could turn your attention to slide 16. Has Mohegan been attempting to increase its percentage of women-owned and minority-owned businesses since its license was last renewed?
Yes, we do always strive to grow our WMBE business. As mentioned in our presentation, we've hosted the Vendor Diversity Fair as recently as April of 2023. We did work closely with the Office of Diversity. Moselle Daniels came up and was a partner with us essentially, and she was at the event. She was very pleased with the turnout, as were we. We had 18 different vendors show up, as well as 11 casinos in the Commonwealth. The reason for the other casinos is because we realized that there's not only benefit to be gained from us, but all of the casinos could really benefit from a fair like that. And we do plan on hosting more vendor fairs in the future as well.
Thank you. Now, if I could turn your attention to slide 19. Out of these, Out of these percentages listed in the slide, how many of these employees are double counted, such as in the both female and minority boxes?
There are approximately 7 team members that are both double counted as both female and minority.
Thank you. Now, if we could turn to slide 20. How is the NEPA area defined?
NEPA, or Northeastern Pennsylvania, we define and is most commonly defined as those 14 counties located in the northeast, hugging the southern and western borders of New York. The most southern county being Schuylkill up to Bradford, and then all the way over to Pike.
Thank you. And of the 891 total team members, how many are employed on the casino side of operations?
So there's 857 team members on the casino side, but that includes hotel, food and beverage, and non-gaming amenities. However, if we're breaking it down to table games, poker, slots, and security, there's approximately 362 team members.
Thank you. Now if I could turn your attention to slide 21. What qualifies an employee to be eligible for the benefits?
So in terms of your traditional medical, vision and dental, you do have to be a full-time team member working at least 30 hours or more per week. However, like on the screen here, we do offer a variety of different benefits for all team members, such as a 401k match of 50% up to 6%, and that's for full-time team members, part-time team members, and seasonal team members. Tuition reimbursement, which is a comprehensive package like I had alluded to earlier, where it's $2,500 for undergraduate, and those individuals who are seeking graduate work will provide $5,000. We have free meals for our team members, our employee assistance program, perfect attendance, sign-on bonuses, referral programs.
Thank you. And is the 401k matching?
Yes, it's up to 50% up to 6% of contributions.
Thank you. And do part-time employees get paid time off?
They do. We have a very comprehensive program where part-time team members earn hours towards paid time off. If they don't use it, it's not that they lose it, it rolls over, or they can cash it out at the end of the year.
And of your managerial and professional employees, what percentage comes from internal promotions?
Approximately 60 to 70%. We pride ourselves on promoting within, and we would rather do that than ever have to seek external candidates.
Thank you. And finally, is Mohegan facing any current staffing, hiring, or retention challenges?
Yes, much like all of the local businesses nationwide, we have faced a very difficult labor market. However, we have come up with really creative ways to kind of recruit and retain our team members. So I think we've done a great job of doing so.
Thank you. The Office of Enforcement Counsel has no further questions.
Mr. Hayes, do you have any follow-up for your witnesses?
No, Director Lloyd, I do not.
Okay, then I will turn to board members. Shall we start with Commissioner Diaz? Would you like to go?
Good morning.
There she goes.
Good morning. Is it on? Yeah.
Morning.
Okay. I'd like to find out about the HR. I'd like to find out about the flexibility program. Do you have flexibility for your employees in terms of time, in terms of flexible time schedules for the employees?
Yeah, Katie.
And what type of flexibility program do you have?
So we do work very closely with each of our team members that come on board. We understand that we're a 24-hour operation, and we want to make sure that we could accommodate as much as possible. So we don't have a formal program in place, but all of our leadership is aware that we want to be as flexible and open as possible to accommodate schedules. So team members can go to school while working at Mohegan, Pennsylvania, or making sure that they don't miss important events for their family.
Okay, thank you. Also, with regard to the minority vendors, who
Ron?
would that be? I noticed that on your slide you say you have 5.1% of vendor spend with minority and women-owned businesses. What is the breakdown of that? So how many African-American businesses, how many Latino businesses, et cetera, do you have?
I currently do not have that information, but we can get that information and we'll provide it to you.
Okay, great. And then with regard to the vendors that attended the fair, you have 18 vendors. How many of them were women? How many of them were minorities?
It would be the same. We do have a list of the businesses, and I could easily get that information for you. I don't have it in front of me. I apologize.
No worries. And with regard to the vendor fair, what types of vendors are you looking for? Are these professionals, or is this sort of like more janitorial services? What kinds of, when you put it out there for vendors, what kinds of vendors are you seeking?
Yes, we actually, so we worked with our corporate team on this as well, and we took all of our vendors from as far south as Philadelphia. I mean, we had a really expansive area. Anybody who was identified as a minority vendor was invited to the event. So we had over 100, I believe it was 140 invitations, 18 who responded and showed up. Some of the ones who showed up, there was things related to IT equipment, there was stationary equipment, cleaning supplies. It was really across the board. There was a good variety there, a good mix.
Okay. And are you working with the African American business chambers in the Northeast or in the eastern area, or with the Hispanic chambers?
Commissioner Manzano Diaz, I think Tony Carlucci would be the best qualified to answer that question, because I know he's done a lot of outreach in that regard.
We have a long outstanding relationship with the local NAACP. For years, it was run by Ron Felton, who unfortunately passed away a couple weeks back. He was a legend in this area, but we have a great relationship with him. Actually, next week, I'm meeting with the new local president of the NAACP, and we're constantly looking for ways, whether it's vendors or even team members, how do we recruit, how do we, grow in this area? So, again, we have meetings just next week to discuss that.
So the chambers of commerce, the African American Chamber, Latino chambers of commerce, are you working with them at all? Because that would be a good source for vendors.
Yeah, presently not the Latino, but we will certainly reach out, an introductory meeting. And again, we have the local thing. I think through the chapter of the NAACP, they can put me in the right contact with who the right people are, for that. And I'll reach out to the Latino community as well.
Great. Thank you. No further questions.
And Mr. Hayes, if you want your answers to these questions to the board clerk email, we'll make sure it's distributed to the board members.
We'll take care of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Turn to Commissioner Regan.
Thank you. That was a very thorough presentation. I appreciate it. Just one question. I mean, the presentation, as I mentioned, covered all areas. I just wondered why, Mr. Parfrey, the Oktoberfest is in September.
Glad you asked.
He couldn't wait to jump up for that one.
Like I said, having been dark on this long-standing popular event for 8 years, and we would bring 10 to 15,000 people over a two-day process. But when you're dark for 8 years, people forget. The actual Oktoberfest in Munich, Germany kicks off every year this past Saturday and continues into October. So it all goes back to a wedding with King Ludwig back in 1860 something. We won't get into that piece of it. But if I had $1 for everyone that has asked that question in the past month, we would all go to lunch and have a good time.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hinkernell?
Thank you. Just one quick question. One of the things that the board has been real concerned about is unattended minors being left in vehicles. I think you said that between midnight and 7:30 you don't have anybody roving out in the parking lot. Can you just give us a reason why at that time you don't have anybody out there checking for these kids that may be left alone?
I think we didn't do a great job of explaining that. The shuttle drivers that patrol the parking lot 24/7, right? They're security. In addition, we have rovers out there between them times. So, we probably just neglected to say it that way.
Makes sense. Thank you.
And Chair Smiler.
Yes, I just have a few follow-up questions. I thought the presentation was very thorough, very good. And as far as Oktoberfest, what kind of events take place over those several days?
Here it goes again.
Well, it's fresh in the mind. So we tried to keep this festival authentic to the traditional Oktoberfest. So you're coming in, you're parking on the track, something our guests don't normally get to do. You're talking a massive 200-foot main entertainment tent with seating for 1,000 people and multiple large beer tents. It's everything from activities such as giant Jenga, or you're interacting with NEPA Cornhole, who we partnered with, which is a local business, and you're getting entertainment every 45 minutes, the moment one person leaves the stage. So we brought in a singer from Germany who knows how to hype up the crowd and do the authentic Oktoberfest stuff. But we also brought in local singers that we work with through our outlets at the property. And clearly the star of the show every year are the wiener dog races. So we had 6 wiener dog races throughout the 2 days, and I was worried, being dark for that long, that I'm like, how do I reach out to this group? Is it on Facebook or the owners, right? The moment we posted it, they were filled within a couple of days. And these lovely owners bring their furry friends out, dressed up in costumes. We have a dog parade, best in show ribbons. And you would not believe it. You could have a great band going off under the main tent. The moment the wiener dog race at 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock, suddenly everyone gravitates from the track, and now you're cramming 3,000 people around a little racetrack. It's a sight to see. I would love for you to attend some year.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. On the 17 weeks of,
Party on the patio.
party on the patio, you said that people aren't required to go to the casino or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Are there vendors out there to provide refreshments? And
Yes.
are they associated with the casino? And do you see an increase in casino activity during that 17-week period because of all the people that come to these free concerts?
Yeah, so Party on the Patio has been around since, I want to say, 2011. It took a long time for it to grow its roots. We used to have to give food away to get people to come to this thing. And then once those roots took, it became bigger and bigger each year. It was interesting right after COVID in that we saw a major shift in a younger demographic coming out for this. We're still getting those seasoned veterans coming out for a great show. In 2021, we saw a major shift in that demographic. You have a lot of younger individuals coming out as well. We work with local food trucks. We do operate one of our own food trucks there, but we bring in new food trucks each week. And when we saw the shift following COVID and the crowd start to expand, we actually took that as an opportunity to start to spotlight local charities at this event too. I believe we had, I want to say, 3 there this year. We're looking to expand on that more because when you have a captive audience, it's a great opportunity to spotlight them.
Okay, but do you see additional casino activity?
Oh yeah, yes, we do. It's, there's
I know
definitely
that's not the goal, but
definitely crossover when the show lets out. So yeah, I would say there's an uptick.
okay. And also, in the property timeline of development, it talks about trackside improvements.
Mhm.
And what did you do? What is a trackside improvement?
So I believe, Kevin, keep me straight here, but I believe in the original slot bill, each of the Category 1 casino licensees that had a racetrack had to fulfill a certain several $million commitment over a several-year timeline to ensure that we were maintaining the track facilities. Backside refers to everything that happens on the other side of the racetrack. So that is your stable area. That is your receiving barns. Those are your paddock areas. All of those integral pieces that keep the racing operations going. And because racing has been around for so long, especially at our property, there was a major focus on ensuring that the casino licensees would keep those components up to date. And not only did we reach that required spend, but we went well above and beyond that. That paddock building is amazing, and I know our horsemen were greatly appreciative of it.
Thank you. And one last question with regard to personnel. Let me talk about the minority employee workforce of 18.6%. Does that include Indigenous Americans as well in that number?
Yes.
And do you have a breakdown of those numbers that you can either tell us now or provide to us later?
Do you want to answer the question first? Okay.
Yes, that it does, but I do not have the official breakdown in front of me, but we can certainly provide that information to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wait, and one last question about outreach to universities.
Yes.
How far do you go with the outreach? Or do you come to Philadelphia
We
schools?
do not at this time, but there's a lot of great local colleges and universities. We have a medical school not far from here. We have, that's Scranton University, we have Wilkes, we have King's, we have the local community college. So and Penn State, we've gone to their different branches. We haven't gone as far as Philadelphia or Harrisburg, but we are certainly not opposed to that.
Well, I'm just thinking that as far as diversity of recruiting a diverse possible employees.
Yes.
You're not going to get a whole lot of diversity if you just stay within NEPA.
Yep.
So if you could think about going west or.
Absolutely.
east, it might help with
Thank
that
you, yes.
recruitment. Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Mr. Hayes, any follow-up questions based on those questions from their commissioners?
No, Director Lloyd, thank you.
Okay, well then, we will turn to our Office of Enforcement Counsel for their presentation.
Thank you, Director Lloyd. Prior to this hearing, OEC Exhibits 1 through 5 and 9 have been provided to the Board and to Council for Mohegan. This would include arrest statistics generated by the Pennsylvania State Police, Bureau of Gaming Enforcement for Mohegan, Pennsylvania, Bureau of Liquor Control Enforcement Letter, Office of Compulsive and Problem Gaming Memorandum, Pennsylvania Department of Revenue Statement of Account, Pennsylvania Horse Racing Commission Letter, and stipulations between the Office of Enforcement Counsel and Counsel for Mohegan, Pennsylvania regarding the admissibility and authenticity of these documents. And at this time, I would like to move to enter OEC Exhibits 1 through 5 and 9 into the record.
Mr. Hayes, any objection?
No objection.
Okay, so moved.
Thank you. May I call my first witness?
Yes.
The Office of Enforcement Counsel calls Ryan Farrell.
And Mr. Farrell, I believe you had been sworn earlier.
Yes. Good afternoon. Can you please state and spell your last name for the record?
Yes, it's Farrell, F-A-R-R-E-L-L.
Thank you. And can you please state your employer and job title?
Sure, I'm a sergeant, and I'm employed with the Pennsylvania State Police. I'm currently the sergeant within the Bureau of Gaming Enforcement and the office commander of the Mohegan Wilkes-Barre Gaming Office.
Thank you, Sergeant Farrell. Can you please describe your career with the Pennsylvania State Police?
Sure. I've been employed with the Pennsylvania State Police since August of 2014. After graduating from the Pennsylvania State Police Academy, I was assigned as a patrol trooper for 3 years. I then spent about 3.5 years as a criminal investigator in the Criminal Investigation Unit. That was until my promotion to corporal. As a corporal, I spent time as a role of a patrol supervisor. And then I spent approximately 2 years in the Bureau of Gaming Enforcement as a unit supervisor of the Wind Creek Casino gaming office until my promotion to sergeant. In June of 2023, I entered my current position as the office commander of the Mohegan Wilkes-Barre Gaming Office.
Thank you. And what are your job duties as the office commander for the Mohegan Wilkes-Barre Gaming Office?
So I'm responsible for the operation and supervision of the Mohegan Wilkes-Barre Gaming Office. That consists of the day-to-day operation to include administrative duties as well as enforcement duties when staffing needs necessitate it. I also function as a liaison between my office and the PGCB office, as well as the Mohegan, Pennsylvania management and operational staff.
And what is the role of the Pennsylvania State Police Bureau of Gaming Enforcement at Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
So we provide police services to the Mohegan, Pennsylvania Casino. We ensure that the casino patrons can experience a safe gaming experience. We strive to prevent criminal activity from occurring in the casino or the casino-related areas, and we investigate any suspected criminal activity. If a crime does occur, we investigate them and make arrests when appropriate. Our role is also to ensure that the casino is functioning within the criminal laws prescribed by the Commonwealth of the gaming industry.
Thank you. And can you please describe the Pennsylvania State Police's jurisdiction at Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
Our jurisdiction consists of all gaming-related areas, which refer to the portions of the Mohegan, Pennsylvania casino that facilitate gaming via slot machines and table games. This also includes all entities located within the gaming floor, to include the cage area and the circle bar.
And who has primary jurisdiction over the parking lot?
Plains Township Police Department has jurisdiction over the parking lot.
And does this split jurisdiction cause any issues with responding to situations inside or outside the casino?
No, it does not. We have a great working relationship with the Plains Township Police Department. We work with each other and assist each other when needed, and no matter what the location of the incident is.
Thank you. Can you please describe the working relationship between the Pennsylvania State Police and Mohegan, Pennsylvania employees?
Sure. We maintain a professional working relationship with all of the Mohegan, Pennsylvania employees. They are accustomed to seeing us on the casino property, and we interact with them, and there's a mutual respect between us. We primarily interact with security staff and surveillance staff.
Can you please describe the working relationship between the Pennsylvania State Police and the Board's Bureau of Casino Compliance?
Yeah, we have a positive professional relationship with our staff. We assist each other during investigations when needed, and we can approach each other's staff without any hesitation.
Are you familiar with how arrest statistics are reported by the Pennsylvania State Police?
Yes.
Can you please describe how these statistics are reported?
So arrest statistics are recorded automatically through our digital records management system.
Has this process of reporting statistics changed since Mohegan, Pennsylvania's slot machine license was last renewed in 2018?
Yes, it has. So prior to 2021, the Pennsylvania State Police participated in arrest statistical tracking through Uniform Crime Reporting, also known as the UCR system. The UCR system consisted of supervisors who corrected criminal reports, keeping a running tally of offenses for an entire month. After the month was concluded, all the supervisors who corrected the reports, they then consolidated their statistics into one document. This information was then forwarded from individual stations to the applicable troops headquarters by the 10th of every month. The statistics from each station were then consolidated to the troop level and forwarded to Harrisburg for one final consolidation statewide. The UCR system also was only used to capture statistics on the most serious offenses in each criminal investigation. And in January of 2021, the Pennsylvania State Police implemented the National Incident-Based Reporting System, also known as NIBRS. The NIBRS system works in conjunction with our electronic records management system, known as RMS. When cases are investigated, the troopers record their investigation on electronic reports within RMS. The RMS system automatically gathers the statistical information, and it can be instantaneously updated or uploaded to the NIBRS system, to the NIBRS statistical system. The NIBRS system then captures statistics on a more comprehensive basis per criminal incident, including up to 10 sub-offenses under the most serious primary offense. And also, this is more of a Bureau of Gaming Enforcement document. We also compile what's called the Senate reports. And every year, the Commissioner of the Pennsylvania State Police is required to prepare an annual report in accordance with Title IV. This provides certain statistics and information to the Appropriations Committee of the Senate, the Community Economic and Recreational Development Committee of the Senate, and the Appropriations Committee of the House of Representatives, and the Gaming Oversight Committee of the House of Representatives.
Thank you. And how is the information contained in the Senate report compiled?
So each Pennsylvania State Police Bureau of Gaming Office, Bureau of Gaming Enforcement Office is required to compile and submit arrest statistics from the previous calendar year to the BGE Administrative Division, and they do this annually by January 15th of each year.
Is the information contained in the Senate report subject to editing and revision after it is submitted in January?
No, it's not.
Thank you. I'm going to direct you to what has been provided as OEC Exhibit 1. Can you please identify this document?
Yeah, this document is the Senate report spanning from 2018 through 2022.
Are criminal offenses that occur at Mohegan, Pennsylvania listed in OEC Exhibit 1?
Yes, they are.
Does OEC Exhibit 1 state the number of actual offenses which are prosecuted?
Yes.
Have you reviewed the arrest statistics for Mohegan, Pennsylvania from the time period from 2018 through 2022?
Yes, I have.
What is the last date Senate report arrest statistics are available for reported offenses at Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
So the last date arrest statistics are available for the reported offenses at the Mohegan, Pennsylvania casino would be December 31st of 2022.
And why does the Senate report only list arrests up until 2022?
So the Senate report is compiled annually each January for the preceding year. Therefore, the statistics for 2023 will be compiled in January of 2024.
Thank you. And what is the most common criminal offense based on the information provided in OEC Exhibit 1?
That would be defiant trespass.
What would constitute trespassing at Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
So an individual can be cited for trespassing for many reasons, such as if a patron returned to the casino after being banned from the property at an earlier date. Another common form of trespassing is when an individual puts themselves on the self-exclusion list through PGCV, and then they are then observed gaming at a casino within the Commonwealth.
Thank you. And can you say approximately how many thefts are reported in an average month?
Approximately 2 thefts per month.
Are there a significant number of violent crimes at Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
No.
Are there a significant number of crimes regarding individuals under the age of 21?
No, there's not a significant number of crimes regarding individuals under the age of 21. I'd say the most common crime regarding individuals under 21 are offenses involving underage individuals being in possession of false identification, which would depict them as being 21 or older.
Has there been a noticeable increase in any specific crimes between 2018 and the present?
No.
Do you see a pattern in the type of actual offenses that have occurred at Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
No, I do not.
During your experience as the sergeant for Pennsylvania State Police Bureau of Gaming Enforcement at Mohegan, Pennsylvania in 2023, has there been any deviation from trends in the types or number of arrests indicated in the 2018 to 2022 Senate report?
No.
Overall, is the Pennsylvania State Police satisfied with the level of cooperation between Mohegan, Pennsylvania employees and the troopers stationed at the casino?
Yes.
In your opinion, are there any issues or concerns which would negatively impact Mohegan, Pennsylvania's suitability for continued licensure?
No.
Thank you, Sergeant Farrell. The Office of Enforcement Counsel has no further questions.
Mr. Hayes, do you have any questions for the sergeant?
No questions.
Any commissioner questions?
I'm just wondering, I noticed that in 2022, you have a new offense listed here, and there were actually quite a few arrests for prostitution. Do you have any information about that and what caused that?
Yeah, in that year, there was a joint investigation conducted with, that would be with my office at the casino, as well as the Bureau of Criminal Investigation. They did what I guess you'd call as a prostitution sting, where they compiled, they picked one date, and they tried to crack down on any prostitution that would happen in the area. So that's why that would be in that specific year.
When you say in the area, are you talking about the parking lot of the casino, or just the
No, in the
greater-
general northeastern Pennsylvania area.
Okay, gotcha, thank you.
Yes, I have a question with regard to 2021. I see that there's 18 incidences of purchase of alcohol to minor. Tell me about that, in terms of, it seems to be the only year that it seems to be spiked. There's 18 incidences of it.
Okay.
So I'd like to know, in terms of serving alcohol to minors, that was 2021. Can you give me some more detail about that?
Unfortunately, I wasn't present. I wasn't the office commander in 2021, so I can dig a little deeper and provide some follow-up, but I mean, I can't give any factual information on that. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I can look into it a little further and report back to you on that.
Does the casino have an answer to that?
Commissioner Manzano, Dinos, is that the violation of Section 6308 that you're making reference to?
I can't see the numbers, but I can see what it says. It says 2021, and it says purchase, possession, transportation of alcohol to minors.
Okay. Do you recall offhand?
And there's 18 incidences
Yeah.
of that on 21.
Ron, you know?
Wow.
Ron, is it the same person more than one time? Here, let me show you.
The numbers I can't see,
Yeah.
they're too small, but I can read the letters.
We may need to get back to you.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's quite possible, there was an incident where a minor was served several different times in several different locations and then were found. But I don't want to say that is it. That's what I'm thinking it might be.
I was also going to echo that. I believe that's what it is as well. Because incident-wise, under serving to minors, it doesn't happen often at all. But I think it was multiple instances of the same person.
Okay. If you could let us know, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations on your promotion.
No, thank you.
In June. Just generally, did you have any difficulty undertaking this new position when you came to Mohegan?
I mean, as in my role, it was a pretty smooth transition. Like I said, I worked in the Wind Creek Casino for almost 2 years as one rank lower, so I was accustomed to the ways of the casinos and things like that. And also on top of that, all of the Mohegan, Pennsylvania employees and directors and whatnot have made my transition very smooth. So I'd like to thank them for that. So to answer your question, no, it's been a very good transition.
Thank you.
Any follow-up questions, Mr. Hayes or Mr. Hurst?
None from me.
Yeah, no follow-up.
Okay, then you're excused.
Thank you.
All right, may I call my second witness? Okay, the Office of Enforcement Counsel calls Melanie Hannon. Good afternoon. Can you please state and spell your last name for the record?
Good afternoon. My name is Melanie Hannon. Last name is spelled Hannon.
Can you please state your employer and job title?
I'm currently the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board Casino Compliance Supervisor at Mohegan, Pennsylvania.
Thank you. And can you please describe your employment history with the board?
Sure. I began my employment with the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board in June of 2010 as a casino compliance representative, Mohegan Sonnet Pocono Downs, which is now Mohegan, Pennsylvania. I held that position until I was promoted to Casino Compliance Supervisor in Mohegan, Pennsylvania in October of 2021.
What are your job duties as the Bureau of Casino Compliance Supervisor assigned to Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
Currently, I supervise a complement of 7 casino compliance representatives, CCRs, and 1 technical field representative, a TFR, which includes monitoring work schedules, time off, payroll, employee disciplinary action if necessary, reviewing all reports submitted by CCRs and TFRs, forwarding them to the appropriate Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board bureaus or the Pennsylvania State Police Gaming Enforcement when necessary. Also monitor and review activities within the following departments of Mohegan, Pennsylvania for instances of noncompliance with PGCB regulations, submitted internal controls, and procedure violations. Those departments include cashier cage in the count room, security department, surveillance departments, slots and table games, as well as marketing in the promotions department. In addition, I've established and maintained working relationship with local law enforcement, Pennsylvania State Police Gaming Enforcement, Mohegan, Pennsylvania staff, directors, and executives.
Thank you. And can you please describe the role of the Bureau of Casino Compliance at a slot machine licensee?
The Bureau of Casino Compliance is responsible for ensuring that the licensed facility is operating within the PGCB regulations, the casino's own approved internal controls, and to complete reports on events that take place within the facility.
And how has the role of the Bureau of Casino Compliance changed since Mohegan, Pennsylvania's last license was last renewed by the board?
Our role has not changed since the last license renewal process. However, as previously stated, during and after the COVID-19 pandemic, some of the ways our casino compliance representatives perform their job duties have changed. For example, prior to the pandemic, a CCR would be present inside of the count room to observe the daily collection, opening, and recording of table games cash storage boxes. This process has changed, and our CCRs now observe this process utilizing the surveillance system within the PGCB office. These small changes implemented after COVID-19 haven't changed our role.
Thank you. And can you please describe the level and scope of access which the Bureau of Casino Compliance has at Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
The PGCB has full access to nearly any area of the casino, including surveillance rooms, security rooms, secure cage and bank finance areas. The exception to this is to the Central Control Computer System Room. We commonly call that the GTEC room, which has its own protocol for access. This access requires prior approval by IGT and the Department of Revenue, except in the case of extreme emergency.
And briefly turning to the Central Control Computer System Room, have there been any connectivity issues between the Central Control Computer System and Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
The CCS room allows state regulators to monitor slot machines in real time to ensure that the integrity of slot gaming and ensure that the state taxes are properly collected. If there are any connectivity issues within this room, our office will receive an email regarding what slot machines are affected. A casino compliance representative will investigate and respond to the email with appropriate action taken or if the slot machine needs to be placed out of service. There has been no major or catastrophic issues within the CCCS room since the last license renewal process.
Can you please describe the Bureau of Casino Compliance's interactions with the Department of Revenue, who controls the Central Control Computer System?
Sure. As previously mentioned, whenever a notice is received of any issue within the CCS, the Department of Revenue is included with this response. So there's constant communication between the BCC and the Department of Revenue.
Thank you. Can you please discuss the relationship between the Bureau of Casino Compliance and the on-site Pennsylvania State Police at Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
Sure, as Sergeant Farrell just said, there's mutual respect and open lines of communication between both the PGCB and the Pennsylvania State Police. Recently, Sergeant Farrell has taken command of the PSP Mohegan office, and again, he has stated it was a seamless transition due to his prior gaming experience coming from Wind Creek.
Can you please discuss the relationship between the Bureau of Casino Compliance and local law enforcement?
Whenever local law enforcement, Plains Township, or even PSP Wilkes-Barre is called to the property for an incident, they have always been polite and professional with members of the PGCB. No CCR has reported any incidents to the contrary. If there are any issues with acquiring paperwork, the PGCB will work with Mohegan's Security Director, Gene Ondeck, or on-site PSP to obtain any necessary documentation.
Can you please explain in what ways the Bureau of Casino Compliance interacts with patrons at Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
Sure. As part of their daily job duties, CCRs are required to walk throughout the gaming floor and monitor various activities among the different departments of the casino. During this time, CCRs are visible and available to any patrons for assistance. If patron has any issues on the gaming floor, they can always request to speak to the member of the Gaming Control Board to answer any questions and file a complaint. Patrons can also file complaints online. They will be forwarded to our office and assigned to a CCR to investigate the said complaint. The first step of this investigation is always calling the patron and speaking to them personally.
Thank you. And can you please describe the relationship between the Bureau of Casino Compliance and Mohegan, Pennsylvania staff?
The PGCB and Mohegan staff work in cooperation to ensure that all regulations are adhered to. All levels of Mohegan staff are friendly, open, and accommodating to any requests that the Gaming Control Board has.
Has Mohegan, Pennsylvania been cooperative in compliance reviews conducted by the Bureau of Casino Compliance?
Yes, they have.
As the casino compliance supervisor assigned to Mohegan, Pennsylvania, are you familiar with the regulatory issues which occur at the casino?
Yes, I am.
What are the most common regulatory issues at Mohegan, Pennsylvania?
During my time as casino compliance supervisor, there have been 13 regulatory incidents reported to the OEC. The most common of these have been table games allowing patrons to bet over the imposed table maximum betting limits.
Thank you. And in your opinion, are there any issues or concerns which would negatively impact Mohegan, Pennsylvania's suitability for continued licensure?
No, I do not.
Thank you, Ms. Hannon. OEC has no further questions.
Mr. Hayes? Any
No questions.
Any questions from our commissioners? No? Then you're excused. Thank you.
Thank you. And for our next witness, I'm going to turn it over to my co-counsel, Michelle Fogel.
Good morning. Michelle Fogel, F-O-G-L-E, Assistant Enforcement Counsel with the Office of Enforcement Counsel. OEC would like to call the next witness from the Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement, Matt Lautney. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Agent Matthew Lautney, last name is Lougney.
And who is your current employer?
The Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board.
And what's your current job title?
My current job title is investigator under the Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement.
And how long have you held this position?
Since approximately September of 2007.
And can you please describe your employment history with the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board?
Yes, I began as a compliance analyst in January 2006. In September of 2007, I transitioned to the Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement. And then I believe in approximately 2010, towards 11, I became case agent of Mohegan, Pennsylvania.
And can you please describe your current job duties as an investigator with the Bureau of Investigations and Enforcement?
Certainly. They include, but they're not limited to, me specifically, the background investigations of those who work within the casinos, gaming level 2, key employees, principals, the facilities themselves, and any company that does business with the casinos, as well as their qualifier and principal employees, full background checks, criminal, financial, and submitted reports to up through the chain of command for licensure.
And as part of your current job duties, did you conduct the investigation into Downs Racing application for renewal of its Category 1 slot machine license?
I did.
And when you did your investigation into Downs Racing renewal application begin? When did that begin?
I'm sorry?
When did your investigation into?
It began in approximately September of 22.
Okay. And can you describe the scope of the investigation?
Certainly. The scope of the investigation centered around, but was not limited to, all of the sort of the operations of and the maybe incidents within the casino since the last licensure, which I believe that was January of 18. So any incidents that occur within the casino, if Enforcement Council would refer them to BIE, to our bureau, then yes, then they would probably come to me for review and for investigation. Aside from that, it is a review and report of all the other state and federal agencies that have jurisdiction within the property. That could be the Liquor Control Board, Department of Revenue, tobacco licenses, and food, and I believe that's the Department of Agriculture licenses.
Okay. And has the casino and management cooperated with BIE to complete its investigation?
100%.
And currently, is BIE's renewal investigation for Downs Racing renewal application complete?
It is.
And based on your review, are there any areas of interest relating to Downs Racing renewal application?
No, my investigation yielded no areas of interest.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
No further questions.
Mr. Hayes, any questions?
No questions.
Any questions from our board members? Okay. Moving on to the next portion of our, well, actually, did you want to move your
Yes.
confidential exhibits? Since I think you moved your.
Yes, we had, I believe exhibits 5 through 8 had been marked confidential, so we would like to move those exhibits into evidence as well.
Mr. Hayes?
No objection.
Okay, they are also moved. Moving on, the board clerk received one written comment from the public for this hearing, and it has been provided to the parties' council, and it will be posted to the board's website in the next day or so. So that we will mark as hearing exhibit number 1 and enter that into the record. So now we'll start the public comment portion of the hearing. I have 3 people that registered to speak today. State Representative Eddie Pashinsky, Fire Chief Mark Ritzik, and Community Group Representative James Brogna. If the 3 of you could stand to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
And as I call your name, if you could come up to the podium. You have about 5 minutes, and if you're going long, I'll let you know. So let's start with State Representative Eddie Pashinsky.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Northeastern Pennsylvania. I'd like to say hello to my former colleague, David Hinkernell. Great to see you. Pleasure to see you. And thanks for all your good work. It's really a wonderful experience for me to be here because many years ago when I was first elected, it was back in 2006. So I saw the development and experienced the development here in Northeastern Pennsylvania. So just to share a few things with you, including some maybe personal stories, but I want to highlight the fact that Mohegan Sun provides the best quality business practices here in Operation Northeastern PA. When I was a kid and my mom and dad used to go to Atlantic City casinos, I mean, that was the big deal. And when I say a big deal, I'm saying they would save their quarters in a can or a jar. And then on a monthly basis or whenever their jar filled up, they would take a bus to Atlantic City. And that happened on a regular basis. And I can tell you that the folks that went from Northeastern Pennsylvania to Atlantic City really looked forward to that. And they were anxious to make that big winning. Thousands and thousands of Pennsylvanians did that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And then, thankfully, a light turned on in our PA government and said, why don't we have our own PA casinos? And because of that, it launched the inquiry and what facts and information was necessary to provide for here in Pennsylvania our very own casinos so they could spend their own Pennsylvania money in their Pennsylvania casinos, which resulted in experiencing enormous positive results through increased employment, enhanced economy, workforce opportunities, and all of this supports our community. The increased workforce opportunities is verified, as we saw earlier at Mohegan. 96.7% of all employees are here from Northeastern Pennsylvania, and 99.9% of all Mohegan employees are Pennsylvania residents. Mohegan also enhanced the local tax base by paying over $430 million in taxes and contributions to our Commonwealth horse racing industry, which many people forget also contributes significantly to our overall economy. In addition, our gaming industry has paid over $2 billion since its inception. Pennsylvania money, staying in Pennsylvania. That money was for our Economic Development Fund. We also had $250 million for our LSA projects. This money is provided to all our municipalities in Luzerne County and appropriates well over $12 to $14 million each year. These dollars help our communities and nonprofits purchase new equipment, improve infrastructure, in addition to funding countless nonprofits, which in turn serves tens of thousands of our Luzerne County residents. If that wasn't enough, Mohegan paid over $67 million in property taxes, $14.5 million in sales and use taxes, nearly $305,000 in mercantile taxes, and $166,000 in amusement taxes. All of this money goes into our PA economy to fund our Pennsylvania programs, which gives back to our communities to provide and improve the lives of our citizens here in Luzerne County. While Mohegan Sun is doing great work for our citizens, there are many legislators in Harrisburg, including myself, that are now trying to pass some legislation to demonstrate that not only does Mohegan provide millions of dollars to our communities for economic improvement and development, the casino's operations also reduce Luzerne County property taxes, saving our Luzerne County property owners considerable dollars. House Bill 178 would actually identify the numerical dollar amount the property owners would save. most folks have no idea that their property taxes are being reduced. So on their notice, it would identify the contribution that Mohican and Son is making to reduce their property taxes. I know to some people it's reasonable to be skeptical and concerned about the potential negative results by some gamblers. But like so many other things in our lives that can create bad habits, like consuming too much sugar, or too much alcohol, or smoking too much, or watching too much TV, or doing too much shopping, our casino industry is competently governed by a set of regulations designed to protect the consumer and still provide the opportunities for safe and active participation without causing negative consequential effects. Because of our state's strict regulations, our PA citizens and those coming from other states can still enjoy our PA action of gambling, knowing that the process is well regulated, monitored, and fair, while still providing that our state benefits from those participating in our state gambling operation. In closing, our Mohican Sun operation not only benefits those who gamble, but they benefit countless visitors who frequent Mohican Sun to enjoy fine dining, quality drinks and food, enjoying quality live music, and experiencing an exciting and welcoming environment. And let us never forget that our PA money stays in PA, benefits our PA citizens, our communities, and our future. It is for all of these reasons that I wholeheartedly endorse the renewal of Mohican, Pennsylvania. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next is our Plains Township Fire Chief, Mark Ritzik. And also parking enforcement.
Good morning and welcome to Plains Township. And I did start off on a bad note by almost having two of the members' cars towed. Which isn't a good way to start the morning. But it wasn't me, it was the neighbor who complained, so it came to me. I guess it's the white shirt. But my name is Mark Ritzik, R-I-T-S-I-C-K. I'm Plains Township Fire Chief. I've been the fire chief for the past 6 years. I've been a full-time firefighter in Plains Township since 1999. I've been a captain for 2 years. After 2 years, I was promoted to, I was a firefighter for 2 years. I was promoted to captain, fire inspector. So I got out in the community, got to know a lot of people, businesses, did a lot of code enforcement. After 8 years, I became deputy fire chief. And 8 years later, I became fire chief. I'm not only a fire chief of Mohican, of the township, I'm a neighbor. I happen to live right here on the street, so I can see the tower from my living room. And I didn't write anything down, so, but I'm just going to tell you, I have nothing but great stuff to say about the casino. And our relationship with Gene Ondeck from the security, if he needs a text, we text each other anytime. We come over for all the events that they have. We sent 2 off-duty firefighters. It's their special assignment to come to party on a patio. They were over at the Oktoberfest. Any large concert that they have, we have 2 firefighters that are EMT trained, AEDs on the vehicles. So before an ambulance comes, we're right there at every event. I want to just talk about an incident that we did have. We had a fire in the hotel. It's one of my, this is the biggest hotel in the county, and for me to be responsible for it is a very big responsibility. We do a lot of pre-planning with the cooperation of the casino. And when we got the call, we come over, false fire alarms, and we're usually met by the staff right out front. We have a good relationship. We get a call, the staff's usually either we're canceled before we get there or the staff's waiting on the corner. We normally don't even have to get out of the truck. That they put us back into service. We have an ambulance call. They direct us. They meet us there, direct us right to where we're going. So our communications is exceptional. Well, we had a fire it came in as not a fire alarm, but a structure fire. So that's a little bit different what we see on our alarm. The county had stated to me there was flames and smoke up on the 5th floor. Well, I've been doing it for 24 years, but still to that day, it's not what I want to happen in the afternoon. Well, when I got over there, I was the first to arrive. They come out to me and said, the fire is out. I was like, okay, I could breathe. And let me tell you, they did a fantastic job. They had the fire contained. The door was shut. Fire was contained. The staff had everyone out of the room. They grabbed fire extinguishers. It was a mattress fire, but they kept it contained. And that was, I can't thank the staff, and I did to Gene enough. Another incident I could just think of, we had a cardiac arrest, which unfortunately we have quite a bit of ambulance calls where the staff has their AEDs on scene, and it was just not too long ago that the gentleman was talking to us by the time we left the gaming floor, from being unresponsive with no vitals to talking to us by the time we were in the ambulance. So I can't, time is of the essence, is very valuable, and they did a great job. They saved a life, and it was one of the many times they have. So again, anything I'm aware of, if they move a wall, a door, I'm getting a phone call. Is this to code? And I come right over, tell Gene I'll meet you by the hotel, and he takes me in. I give him the approval. Any kind of alarm is moved, or any wall, when they did the, moved any kind of gates, anything I'm aware of. So we really appreciate the cooperation of the Mohegan Sun. As a neighbor, I have no complaints whatsoever. Literally right here, never been a complaint. The township, I think, has very benefited from Plains Township. When I started, I had 12 full-time firefighters. I was one of 12 full-timers. Years ago, we had 17. And they said, we'll never get back to 17. That was the old days. Guess how many I have? 17 firefighters, full-time firefighters. And it was ever since Mohegan. It did help us with our equipment. So that's really all I have to say.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Thank you. And community group, Mr. James Brogna from Allied Services. And I hope I spelled or said your name correctly.
Put it in front of you.
Good afternoon. My name is James Brogna, B-R-O-G, and I am Vice President for Partnership Development at Allied Services. I have an hour, right? I'm sorry. I'm so privileged to be here as an invited guest and certainly as a community. So for the chair and the board and our elected officials and the Mohegan Sun team members and our community guests, I'm really proud to be here on behalf of 3,000 individuals that work at our healthcare system, and more importantly, the volunteers that give so much of their time, and very specifically on the poster board that you see there, the 1,200 children that we care for in our region every single year. That's what I'm here to advocate for, and on behalf of Mohegan, Pennsylvania. These children, which was not the original core business of our nonprofit healthcare system. This service was born out of need in the community, and it continues to get greater and greater every year with outstanding medicine, saving children's lives. But then those children that are born with having congenital issues or life-altering disabilities and injuries, we provide this service for many of those children in the region, and often at a reduced payment rate because so many of them are chronically ill for their entire lives. Allied Services is there for them, and this is one of our mission programs. I'm advocating on behalf of Mohegan, Pennsylvania's license renewal, and as you can see on the poster, for their generosity since we started what was identified earlier, this team in the TCS New York City Marathon. that's a whole separate story how we got started on this. But in 2010, when we developed this partnership, had the opportunity to be designated as one of the charities in the world's largest event, and participants from around the world, average athletes, disabled athletes, elite athletes, the first partner that we reached out to was Mohegan, Pennsylvania. And I could tell you that you see part of the generosity that's denoted on the presentation. The $200,000 plus that they have directly contributed is just the start of what this partnership has provided for us, for our community, and for these children. When our relationship began in 2010, I was crazy enough to ask a local TV personality, would you like to be a spokesperson for the services that we provide? We thought that visibility would be very important, and it would be an opportunity for us to raise money. And that spokesperson is still a friend to this day, Ryan Leckie, with local TV station WNEP TV. The very first organization that we went to was Mohegan, Pennsylvania. And they were a partner enlisted from day one, and they continue through this year, as we'll have 62 participants in November, on November 5th, in the TCS New York City Marathon. But I can tell you over the past 14 years that Mohegan has donated not just $200,000 to Allied Services Foundation so that we could deliver care to these children in need, who are not fully covered by insurance, or they're underfunded because they're on medical assistance for the rest of their lives. In addition, for a 4-year concurrent period, we had the privilege of hosting the most insane fitness event in the hotel and the hotel ballroom, which is called the Clash for Cash. This event, which was only stopped by the pandemic, was embraced by Mohegan. It was an opportunity for us to feature local amateur athletes, hundreds of athletes from states around the region that came to Mohegan, Pennsylvania, that came to this area to demonstrate their fitness potential and compete in this event, including disabled athletes. And so it was a real highlight of a 4-year period of what our relationship has meant. In that 4-year period, we raised an additional $125,000 just from this one-day event. Mohegan, Pennsylvania support has gone way beyond that, though. It's not about the money. It's certainly not about a Clash for Cash event. Has anybody in here run a marathon? Outstanding. You know, it's less than 1% of the world. I might point that out. It takes countless hours and an untold amount of dedication of your private time to be a participant in this. I'm going to just mention that I hope will validate how great their team members and leaders have been. It's one thing to give your money. It's a separate thing to have their team members committed. We've had more than 14 Mohegan Sun team members participate on our team. It was mentioned earlier, from Kara and Abdul to Maria, siblings, Krista and Jeff, whose mother still works at Mohegan since day one, to Joey, Audra, and most recently Jen. I have to highlight those people because they're team members at Mohegan Sun, and from the semi-elite runner to the very, very, very slow runner, they've committed so much of their personal time to train, to do this, to give a demonstrated example in the region of the power of what you can achieve and helping to spread the word about our services. They've also raised so much money, tens of thousands of dollars of their own personal money, and from their friends and family, and extending this opportunity in the partnership to reinvest in our pediatric services. So you could see I'm pretty passionate about what Allied Services does, and you see some of those real true faces highlighted on that poster. But when our fundraising needs for Allied Services, this is our 65th year of operation as a nonprofit in Northeast PA, we bring therapy services and technology that you do not need to leave this area because of the investments that Mohegan Sun has made in donations and as a part of this campaign. Our fundraising needs are greater than ever before. And in year 14, Mohegan, Pennsylvania was the first partner to sign back up to support us. So we're grateful for the support of the team. We're grateful for the friendship and the support that their team members do. And we're certainly fully supportive of their request for their license renewal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any comments, questions? Thank you. That is the end of my list for public speakers. Is there anyone here who thought they registered and I have not called your name? Raise your hand. Seeing no hands. Mr. Hayes, do you have any closing statement?
Just briefly, Director Lloyd, on behalf of Mohegan, Pennsylvania, we want to thank the board members and the members of your staff for giving us the opportunity to appear before you today. We understand that this is a process mandated by the Gaming Act, but I know I could speak for the management team that's here. They truly enjoy this, showcasing what they do and the fact that they've delivered on the promise from, again, a retrofitted or a dated, we'll say, grandstand to what you'll see if you do take a tour later today. It's a great success story of gaming in Pennsylvania and what was, I guess, the vision of the General Assembly when they passed the Gaming Act back in 2004. We also want to thank the members of the staff who worked so hard in preparing this public input hearing. The Office of Hearings and Appeals, the Office of Enforcement Counsel, BIE, Melanie Hannon and the members of the other compliance agents, the Office of Communications, and anyone else I may have forgotten. We also want to thank Sergeant Farrell and the members of the Pennsylvania State Police who participated in preparing the report and appearing here today. I know I speak for Tony when we hear him say that there's a mutual respect, a relationship that's based on mutual respect and cooperation. That's very rewarding for us to hear, and I hope it is for the board members, and that we all understand that we're in a heavily regulated industry that requires transparency, honesty, cooperation, and we're glad to hear that from our perspective that's occurring, but it's nice to hear that they feel the same way. We would also like to thank State Representative Eddie Dapashinsky, who took time out of his extremely busy schedule to be here today and to offer his sincere remarks in support of this casino. And as well, the same goes for Jim Bragda from Allied Services. We really appreciate him being here today, as well as Fire Chief Mark Retzik. And lastly, we want to thank State Senator Marty Flynn, who could not appear but offered his letter of support of the Mohegan, Pennsylvania renewal. Lastly, and in closing, on behalf of Tony Carlucci, I would like to extend an invitation to the members of the board and board staff if they would like to take a tour of the facility at the conclusion of today's hearing. But again, thank you all for your time, your attention, and for coming here to Lucerne County to hear about our casino and what we do here. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hurst, any closing statement?
The Office of Enforcement Counsel does not have a closing statement other than to just thank the members of the board, Counsel for Mohegan, and members of Mohegan for coming out today and being cooperative in the process.
Okay. The record will remain open until the board hears the matter at a later public board meeting. I'll prepare a summary report of today's events, and the report, along with all of the transcripts and any documents, will be sent to all the board members at the time the board meeting that they choose to hear this matter in Harrisburg. I want to thank you all for coming today and for your cooperation. I'd like to thank Plains Township for allowing us to use their facility again today. And the hearing is now concluded and adjourned. Thank you.